Hello everyone, my name is an enemy champ, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make Reinhardt a paladin in Overwatch. The way we're going to do that is we're going to have two abilities. The first ability is going to be to give him invincibility, and that's the Divine Shield ability from Warcraft 3 is what we're aiming at. His second ability is we're going to go ahead and give him the ability to heal everyone in an area whenever he tries to bring his shield up or he presses the button to do so. So he could be alive and emoting and it'll still do it. Now the way we're going to do this is we're going to make this ongoing for each player. We're going to make sure that he's on the heroes team because bad peeps can't do this. And we're going to make it so that only Reinhardts can do this. Okay? What we're going to check now is we're going to make sure that our Reinhardt is alive. We're going to make sure that he is a Reinhardt. So hero of the event player, the person triggering this, is the hero, Reinhardt. We're going to make sure that the team of the person triggering this is going to go ahead and be the team heroes. Now we're going to make sure that he's using the ability 1, which is his charge. And once he uses that ability, we'll activate these actions, which is first, we're going to create the effect visible to everyone. We're going to use a sphere. We're going to make it yellow. We're going to make it at the position of, and the way this one works is we're going to add two vectors together, and a vector is, let's show you here, X, Y, and Z. X is the horizontal axis, Y is up and down, Z is forward and backward. So we're going to go up 1 from the position of the event player. So we start at the event player, and that's like the bottom of their model in this case, and we'll go up 1. And that's going to be where we're going to have the center of the sphere. And we're going to make that go 1.4 for the radius. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to modify the player variable. Event player, we'll use A, and we'll append to array the last created entity. And what this does is an array is a listing of numbers or entities or anything that you want. And the way that it works is you grab from this list whatever you want at whatever index. So 1, 2, 3, 4 could have different values. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and start at value 1. Since this array doesn't exist yet, we create the array and it appends to it this first value, which is the last created entity. So now we're going to do that again, but with the new effect of the good aura sound. Now the reason that we're going to add a sound is so that way everyone recognizes that this person is activating an ability, as if a giant spear isn't enough, right? But the way radius works now is radius is typically in meters, but for sounds it's the actual volume of it. So we're going to put that all the way up to the loudest it can be. Now we're going to go ahead and add that to the array. And the next thing we want to do is we want to make Reinhardt invincible. So set status for the event player invincibility. We're going to do that for 4 seconds. 4 seconds. Now what we also want to do is we want to cancel his charge. So we're going to do set status, the event player. We're going to go ahead and knock him down. We're going to do that for 0.01. And what this is going to do is it's going to not have any actual effect on the person. Like it's not going to make it look any different. So instead of doing the charge and then getting stunned, it's actually not going to look like it's any different. It'll just make the sound as if he was charging, and instead it'll play all these effects. So now what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the duration that we set earlier for invincibility. So we're going to wait 4 seconds. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to destroy the effects that we have, because the invincibility ran out. So we're going to do the value in the array that we created earlier for the player variable. We're going to do A, and it's going to be index number 1. So like we talked about earlier, it starts at 1, and then goes to 2, and then goes to 3, and goes to whatever else you want it. Since we appended to array, it just keeps adding onto it one at a time. So now what we want to do is we want to get rid of the array now that we've destroyed those effects from it. So set player variable A to null, which is basically saying like it hasn't been set before. It's back down to 0. Or back to as if it didn't existed. Alright, so that ability is done. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add the healing allies and area ability. So we're going to copy over a lot of these conditions. Alright, and now the one difference, rather than is using ability, we're going to go ahead and check is button held. So we're going to use the secondary fire button, which is this shield. And if that's true, we're going to go ahead and start using his ability. So what we'll do is we'll play an effect, visible to everyone. We'll go ahead and have a good pickup effect. We'll use yellow, and we'll have it at the position of the event player. Now the radius 1 works for this ability. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and have it heal everyone in a radius. So instead of just regular heal, which would then go like, let's say 30, so it'll go 30, 30, 30, 30, we want it to heal over time. That way it goes from 0 to 30, and it goes to a smooth transition, and it keeps going up that way. So we'll make the healer the event player. We'll make it heal everyone that's in an area, players within radius. We're going to make sure that these players are on our team as well, but let's go ahead and define this radius. So position of the event player is going to be the center. The radius is going to be 5. And then the team, we're going to make sure that they're on our team. So the team of the event player. For the line of sight check, what we're doing is we're going to check to make sure that if the person's behind a wall, we can't heal them. And if they're behind an enemy barrier, we're not going to be healing them. We're going to make sure that we're the ones healing everyone. The duration that we're going to heal for is every second. We're going to make healing per second 30. So it's not a ton of healing, but it's enough to show that he is healing people. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and wait for 1 second, and we'll go ahead and loop this if the condition is true. So if all of these things are true, it'll keep cycling through these. We want that to happen. Now what we want to do is we want to also show the radius that he can heal people in. So we're going to create a ring. To do that, we're going to create another effect. But we don't want this effect to loop, like all this stuff is going to be looping. We want it to happen once. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to close all these down, so that way they're not in the way. We're going to name this one create effect. Alright, and what we're going to do is all of these have to be met, and then we're going to make sure that the player variable doesn't exist. But not only that the player variable doesn't exist, because we used an array earlier, we're going to use value in array, player variable, and we're going to use b for this one, and we're going to use index 1, and we're going to make sure that that's null. So if this index of the array has not been defined yet, then you can execute all these actions. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of these ones here, and we're going to add our own create effects. So we're going to create the effect visible to everyone. We're going to use a ring. It's going to be yellow. We're going to use the position of the event player. We're going to make it the radius that we set earlier, which is 5. Alright, now we're going to create a sound. We're going to use the good aura sound. Position of the event player, we're going to make it radius of 100, so that way the volume's all the way up to 100. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to append that to an array again. So we'll do modify player variable. This one's going to be b. We're going to do append to array, and we're going to do the last created entity. And we're going to have to do this after each create effect. So we'll do modify player variable, and then create effect, and then modify player variable again. So this one's done. Now that this is created, it won't run this again. It'll only run this one time. Now we have to have a way of deleting these effects and then setting that variable back to null again. So what we're going to do is we're going to do after this loop is done. So this will be loop, 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 loop. After that's done, because the condition is no longer true, we're going to abort if the condition is true, because we don't want this to happen if it's true. We're going to delete the effects. Alright. We'll do the value in array. We'll do player variable, and it's going to be b. And we'll do index number 1, and we'll do index number 2 next. Now after that's done, we're going to set the variable back down to null. Set player variable b null. And there we go, now we're done. We now made Reinhardt a Paladin. So let's go in the game and we'll check this out and see how it works. Alright, make sure the shield works. He's hitting us. We're not taking damage. Let's heal up. We got the effects going. We're healing up. There we go. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed.